Okay, 7th graders, lesson 9, in chapter 1. We're going to review multiplying and dividing integers. Okay? Now, remember this term integers refers to only whole numbers and their opposites. So, positive whole numbers and negative whole numbers. That's what that term integers means. So, 5 and negative 5. Those are integers. 5½ is not an integer because it's not a whole number. So we're only going to focus on integers today. And we're going to focus on these rules for multiplying and dividing. The rule, if you have two numbers and they have the same sign, that's referring to a positive sign or a negative sign. If they're both positive, such as positive times a positive is a positive, or if they're both negative, negative times a negative, that also equals a positive. Two negatives multiplied together always equal a positive answer. So negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Okay. Now that means that if you have an even number of negative signs that you're either multiplying or dividing, the even pairs will always equal a positive answer, and so the even number equals a positive answer at the end. So for example, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. If you have 4 negatives, the pairs of negatives cancel out and become positive, okay? Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And negative 2 times negative 2 is also positive 4. So then you have positive 4 times positive 4. That's positive 16. Now, if you have an odd number of negative signs, then the answer is always negative. So that means if one of them is negative and the other one is positive, then the answer is negative. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. And negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5 is also negative because there's an odd number. Think negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. And then positive 25 times negative 5 makes it a negative answer. Now, so an even number power also gives us a positive answer. We talked about negative 2 to the 4th power is positive 16. Negative 2 to the 3rd power is a negative 8 because there's an odd number of negative signs in that. Okay? It works the same for division. We're going to be doing multiplication and division today. Multiplying by a negative number is the same as adding that negative number over and over and over again. So, look at page 47. That's where our assignment is going to be from. We've talked about adding negatives already. What is the answer to negative 9 plus negative 9 plus negative 9 plus negative 9? When we're adding those negatives over and over again. Cool? Negative 36. Negative 36. Each time we add another negative, 36. Each time we add another negative, it becomes more negative, right? How could we write this as a multiplication problem? Since multiplication is taking the same number and adding it over and over again, how could we write this as multiplication? Bryce?
Negative 9 times 4.
Yeah. Negative 9 times 4. Notice you have a negative times a positive, and you have a negative answer. So multiplying it by a negative, or multiplying a negative number times a number is the same as adding that number over and over and over again, isn't it? Number 3. Negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. How many negative 5s is that? Yep, 5 negative 5s. So to write it as multiplication, right, 5 times negative 5, or negative 5 times 5. And what is that answer? Nate?
Negative 25.
Negative 25. Yep. Let's skip to number 20. Let's skip to division. 24 divided by negative 24. These numbers, they don't have the same sign, they have opposite signs, so the answer is going to be negative. What is the answer? Jen? Negative 1. Yeah. But if you're dividing two negative numbers, for example, number 26, negative 38 divided by negative 19. Oh, I'm sorry, negative 2. So then the answer is negative or positive?
Positive.
Positive. Tyler, what's the answer? I accidentally wrote it when I wrote it up there. Half of 38. 19. Yeah, positive 19. Yep. Any questions on multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers? All right. Let's review also what we do with this number. How do you read this number? Roy?
2.
2. Or how would we read the bars? The answer is 2. So how do we read this?
Opposites.
These are absolute value. Okay? That says, how far is negative 2 from 0? And it's 2, you're right. So you read this as the absolute value of negative 2. And what if we multiply that by negative 7? We do 2 times negative 7. Oops, I don't want to use extra times. 2 times negative 7, which is?
Negative 14.
Negative 14. Yep. And what if we had this? 5 times negative 2 and negative 6 times negative 1. And we're comparing these two quantities. Which one is greater? How would you write the answer to this? Using greater than, less than, or equal to? Jen?
Less than.
Less than. This is negative 10,
The other one.
and this is
6.
positive 6. So negative 10 is less than, it points to the left. Negative 10 is less than positive 6. Okay? So, I know that you know, I think you have the rules down. We're gonna do some application problems like this in your homework today, okay? So reviewing some of the concepts from earlier in the chapter, and then applying those to multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers, okay? So your assignment is actually going to start on number 14. So I want you to do 14 to 28 evens. On page 47. 14 to 28 evens. And 42 to 56. No, 42 to 60 evens. Okay? And you don't have to write out the questions on the first section.
Say what now?